Hi there, and welcome. Today, we're going to explore a world full of amazing stories. But here's the thing, you won't find these stories written down in any book. Instead, they're carried on the wind, passed from one person to the next, creating a huge, invisible library of imagination.
So let's start with this really cool idea. Some of the best libraries in the entire world have no books at all. You see, in India's tribal communities, they have these ancient stories that have been shared for hundreds and hundreds of years, not by writing them down, but by telling them and singing them. They're like living, breathing libraries. But this leads us to a really big and kind of sad question. What happens when these incredible story libraries, which have been around for so long, start to just fade away? It feels like we're in a race against time. A wise man named G.N. Devi said, "We're in danger of losing an enormous wealth of oral literature." That's a fancy way of saying a huge treasure chest of spoken stories might be lost forever if we're not careful. And that would be a loss for everyone.
Now, to really understand these stories, we have to try and see the world a little differently. We need to step into what's called the tribal imagination. It's a very special way of looking at things that makes all their stories so magical.
So you can see right here how different it is. For many of us, time is like a straight road, right? It just goes forward. But in the tribal imagination, time is more like a circle. It's personal. And a place isn't just a place. It can be sacred and special. Knowledge doesn't just come from facts and logic, but from feelings, from memories, and from being super connected to the world around you.
And because they see the world this way, their stories feel almost like a beautiful dream. A world where the normal rules don't apply and anything can happen. Oceans can fly, mountains can swim, and animals can talk just like people. It's a world where time and space can bend and stretch in the most amazing ways.
This special way of seeing things leads to some really incredible art. You can see how everyone in the community is a part of it, working and creating together. The art and the stories belong to everyone.
So, how do these amazing ideas show up in their songs and stories? Well, the best way to find out is to listen. Let's check out two really special songs, one for when a new baby is born and one for when someone passes away.
Okay, so listen to this. It's part of a song from the Munda people for when a baby is born. Isn't that beautiful? It's like the whole universe is celebrating. The baby's birth is connected to something as big and wonderful as the sun and the moon.
And there's another part to the song that's really interesting. In their culture, when a baby girl is born, they sing that the cowshed is full. That's a way of saying she brings good fortune and happiness to the family. Isn't that lovely?
Okay, now let's listen to a different kind of song. This one is from the Khand people. It's a very kind and gentle song for when someone's spirit is going on its journey. They believe the spirit might stay close to home for a little while, so the song is like saying, "Here is a small gift. Please go peacefully now."
So what do we learn from these two little songs? They show us a world where everything is connected. People, animals, nature, and spirits. They're all talking to each other, all part of one big family. Life and death are just part of the same beautiful circle.
You know, all this gets us thinking about something really important. What does the word literature, or even story, really mean?
Usually, when we think of stories or literature, we think of books, right? Things that are written down on paper in a library. But is that really the whole picture? Not at all. Because if stories are only the ones that are written down, then we're missing out on a whole world of amazing creativity and wisdom, just because it's spoken or sung instead.
And that's exactly what that writer, G.N. Devi, is trying to tell us. He says we need to remember that stories told out loud, through speaking and singing, are just as important and beautiful as the ones in books. They are literature too.
So you see, spoken stories aren't the opposite of written books. Actually, they're where written books came from in the first place. Think about your favorite nursery rhyme or a song you love to sing. That rhythm, that sound, that all comes from the spoken word. Spoken stories are like the roots of a giant magical story tree.
So, why is this so important? Why does it matter what we call these stories? What's the big deal?
Well, the words we use really matter. Sometimes people call these stories folklore, which can make them sound a bit small or maybe not as important. But when we call them literature, we're saying, wow, these are incredible works of art. It shows we respect them and know how precious they are.
And this is super important because we're at risk of losing them forever. When these spoken stories disappear, it's not just sad for the communities who tell them. It's sad for everyone.
It's like a giant magical library is burning down, a library where all the books were held in people's memories. And once they're gone, they can never, ever be replaced.
And that brings us to our last big question for you to think about. When a library that's made of voices and memories disappears forever, what part of our own story, what beautiful piece of our own human imagination do you think we lose along with it?